All right, let's talk about NumPy. It's the absolute engine of scientific computing in Python, right? But how does it get its incredible speed? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and turn what feels like magic into real, practical mastery.
You know the feeling, right? You're staring at your screen, waiting and waiting for your script to chew through a big data set, and you're just thinking, come on, there's got to be a faster way. Well, you're right, there is.
So on one side, you've got your standard Python loop. It gets the job done, sure, but it goes through your data one item at a time. It's slow. Then you look at the NumPy version. It's clean, it's one line, and it's ridiculously fast. But the difference is so much more than just how it looks.
That one little line of NumPy code can be up to 100 times faster. No, that's not a typo. 100x. It's a speed up so big it feels completely unreal. But I promise you, it's not magic. It's just really, really clever engineering.
So in this explainer, we are going to crack open that 100x speedup. We're going to look under the hood, and I'm going to give you the keys to start writing faster, way more efficient code yourself.
The whole secret to NumPy's power, the foundation of everything, starts with its most basic data structure, the n-dimensional array, or, as you'll always see it, the end array. Okay, let's break that down. There are two words here that are absolutely critical. First, uniform, which just means every single thing in the array is the same data type, like they're all 64-bit numbers. And second, contiguous block of memory. This is the real secret sauce.
This table really nails the difference. A normal Python list is kind of like a backpack. It's super flexible, right? You can throw anything in there, a number, a string, another list. But because of that, your computer has to do a lot of work to figure out what's what. A NumPy array, on the other hand, is like an organized shipping container. Everything is the same size, packed tightly together in a perfect grid. And that organization is what lets NumPy run operations at blazing fast sea-level speeds.
So how does NumPy take advantage of this awesome array structure? Well, it all comes down to its two main superpowers, vectorization and broadcasting.
Vectorization is a really simple idea. It just means you replace those slow, one-by-one Python loops with a single, highly optimized NumPy command. So instead of Python doing all the hard work, it just hands the entire array off to some pre-compiled C code that absolutely flies through the calculations. And that right there, that's where the massive speedup comes from. Broadcasting is NumPy's other bit of genius. It's this incredibly clever trick that lets you do math on arrays that don't even have the same shape. And the real magic is that it does all this without actually making copies of your data, which saves a ton of memory. I mean, think about this. Instead of creating 3 gigantic arrays just to do a calculation, broadcasting lets NumPy just pretend. It virtually stretches these smaller arrays over a grid and does the math as if the big arrays were there, but without that huge memory footprint. It is just beautiful optimization. Okay, the theory is cool, but let's make this practical. Let's turn what we've learned into some real tips you can use to make your code faster and leaner, like right now. First tip, and this is a big one, choose the right data type. By default, NumPy likes to be super precise and uses 64-bit numbers. But honestly, a lot of the time, 32-bit is totally fine. And that one simple change literally cuts the memory your array uses in half. That means you can work with much, much bigger data sets. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, for just a single 4K image, switching from 64-bit to 32-bit floats can save you over 95 megabytes of RAM. Now, just imagine you're processing a video with thousands of frames. The savings just stack up like crazy. Okay, listen up, because this is a super important trap you need to know about. When you slice a NumPy array, you don't actually get a new copy. You get something called a view. Think of it like a window looking at the original data. So if you change something in the view, like we do here, you are also changing the original array. And that can cause some seriously confusing bugs if you're not ready for it. So the takeaway here is super simple. If you need a totally separate, independent version of your data that won't mess with the original, you have to explicitly use the .copy method. That makes a true deep copy, and your original data stays safe. We've squeezed a whole lot of performance out of the CPU, but for the really, really demanding jobs, we can take all these ideas to a completely different piece of hardware. So what happens when you're dealing with truly massive data sets? We're talking machine learning, deep learning, huge scientific simulations, a point where even the most optimized NumPy code on a CPU just can't keep up? What's the next step? Well, say hello to Kupi.
It's this amazing library that basically mirrors the NumPy API, but it runs all of its calculations on your GPU. And this, my friends, is where things get really wild.
The performance jump is just staggering. See, GPUs were literally designed for the kind of massively parallel work that NumPy arrays do. So for a lot of operations, CuPy isn't just a little bit faster. Benchmarks show it can be over 100 times faster than NumPy on a CPU. And here's the best part, the absolute punchline to this whole thing. To get that insane performance boost, most of the time you only have to change one single line of code. Instead of importing NumPy, you just import CuPy. So I guess the final question is, with an upgrade this easy, when is your next project going to make the leap?